up, guys? Autofanatic. I haven't done a video on our Infiniti Q50 Red Sport in quite a while, since it broke down last year where the belt fell off the engine, created a whole freaking shit show. But what's going on with the car now, and this is the only reason I'm doing this video, is I want to get feedback from other owners of this car, because we don't know what's going on, but I would say the car only has about 18,000 miles now, and it has massive instability on any highway in New York. And this is actually a pretty smooth highway right now, and the car is pulling to the right or to the left all day long. You got to fight the steering wheel, and it's becoming a real nuisance and not very pleasurable to drive, especially when we go on trips upstate New York on I-87 and Route 80 and stuff like that. The car is just drifting and wandering everywhere. So what I wanted to talk about, I'm going to pull over in a few minutes. I'm going to show you some of the alignment specs. Okay, here's what I did to the car so far. I completely retired the car with brand new Michelin tires. Okay, that was done a few months ago. We did that, I believe it was in October or November. I wanted to do it right before winter. So the tires were perfectly fine, but I wanted to put a new set of tires on before we went into the winter, just to make the car a little bit safer for the wife to drive. So we did that. We did a wheel alignment. That didn't work. The car was still drifting all over the place. Then I brought it to the dealer. They did a wheel alignment. They checked the entire car out. They said there's nothing wrong. No problem found. Then I brought it to two of my friends that have shops locally. We did two more wheel alignments. Okay, I paid for this out of pocket. I also took the wheels and tires off the car. We spent hours road force matching each and every tire and wheel assembly on the car. And right now, look, the car is, look, it just goes all over the place. It's unbelievable. The car is all over the place. There's a problem going on with this car, and I think what's happening is the bumpy New York roads over the course of 3 years have prematurely worn or cracked the lower control arm bushings or the strut mount isolated hats that mount on the top of the struts. Now, you go to the dealer, they're not going to go and start throwing parts of this car. They don't really have an incentive to do that. So they road test the car around the block and say there's nothing wrong with it. They give it back to you. They wasted everybody's time. Like I said, if I owned the car, I probably would take a different approach where I would just rip everything apart and replace everything myself. But I don't love the car enough to do that. And so far, I already spent over $2,000 on this car between the tires, the road force balancing, and all the wheel alignments, including the one at the dealer. If the lower control arm bushings or any of the ball joints of the suspension are cracked or worn or deteriorated, as the suspension is loading up at higher speed, you're going to get constant toe deflection. The toe is where the wheels in the front and in the rear are going to be going in and out, whereas when you're driving on the highway, the wheels should be straight, and there should be some sort of compensation in the alignment for the crown in the road and everything else, and that's just basic geometry of, automotive suspensions. But what I think is happening, there's such a drastic toe change on the right side of this car that it is pulling this car everywhere. Also, according to the last alignment, the driver's side rear wheel camber had more negative pitch than the right side. I don't know why, but that's another thing. If that rear wheel is leaning and this wheel has constant toe deflection, this car is all over the road. The situation is, we correct the alignment, you drive it again for a week or two, you put it back up on the rack, and it's whacked out again. Look, it's just wandering in that lane. You go to correct it, now it's wandering back in that lane. That's the problem. So when you're on the highway and you're taking a long trip, you're constantly fighting and correcting the steering on this car as if the steering rack is worn or the front suspension has got some sort of broken component. And no matter what you do to the alignment when it's static, static means when it's on the alignment rack. When the suspension in this car is under load at higher rate of speed, there's something going on in the front suspension and the rear suspension of this car. Now, the architecture of this car is not state-of-the-art in any which way possible. I mean, the chassis design, in my opinion, is outdated. It's antiquated. Compared to the cars that we have today, the Alfa Romeo Giulia platform blows this away. The Genesis blows this away. The Stinger GT2 blows this away. We already know the BMW is going to be a better chassis. Of course, even the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. But regardless the chassis being so old and not really state of the art and up to the level. I mean, look at this thing. Look where it's going. It's just unbelievable. I cannot keep this car in line for the life of me. It's unbelievable. So the steering wheel is pointing straight, you know, and then here it goes again. It's going over there. So this is a situation, this is a problem with this car, and I want to hear from you guys that own the Q50 Red Sports in the Northeast, New England area, Chicago, Midwest, where we have some bad roads. Has anybody been having this particular issue? If so, did you fix it? Or are you just dealing with it? Have you brought it to the dealer? Have they replaced the lower control arms? Now, regarding Nissans, a lot of my friends are mechanics, and they do this stuff every day. Nissan, like the Altima and the Maxima chassis, over time are known to have very weak front and rear lower control arm bushings. Now, if the lower control arm bushings, which are these really big, massive bushings that are attached to the lower control arm, if those are cracked or deformed in any way, that's going to cause the entire front suspension of the car to have adverse reactions of the toe. It's going to have constant toe in and toe out changes, and it's going to make the car drift and pull all over the place. And I think that's what's happening, but it's to the point where the dealership has given no resolution, and we're, like I said, we're not going to keep wasting time with that, and I'm not going to keep pouring money into this car. We're just going to start shopping for a new car. All right, guys, just pulled over. Just want to show you guys the condition of the car. It is absolutely immaculate for almost 3 years old. There's not a dent, a ding, a scratch anywhere on the paint of this car. It's got brand new Michelin tires, the Pilot Sport AS3 Pluses. You can see them there. They're brand new all the way around. Brakes are good. The car only has 18,172 miles, okay, in almost 3 years of ownership. And I'll show you the inside as well. You can see the car's taken care of. It's not beat up in any which way possible. The car gets driven 3 miles a day, every day, and then, you know, we take it upstate and I go into the city with it and the boroughs, but I just can't take it anymore. So I'm going to just set the camera up and I'm going to show you guys some of the alignment sheets, and I'm just going to give you a little rundown on what's going on. All right, guys, we're back. So I got a stack of paperwork here, and I'm just going to go over the alignments that two of my friends did that have shops in my area, and I actually watched both of these alignments get done firsthand. So we're going to start with the first one. This alignment was done back in December of 2018. Try to show you on paper. So let me just read off the readings. The front camber before the alignment was negative 0.6 on the left side, and it was negative 0.8 on the right side. Okay, well, that's normal because, I mean, there's really no camber adjustment on this car. Caster. The caster is the way the steering clicks back after you're going to return, how fast it returns back to center. This car doesn't really have high caster. My Mustang and my Alfa Romeo have much higher caster. So this car on the left has 4.3 degrees of positive caster and 3.8 degrees of positive caster on the right. Now this is where we saw a deviation. This was after we put the tires in the car. The left side had toe of 0.17 in. It was towed in too much. And the right side had negative 0.21. So what happens is, according to this alignment on the rack, and we rolled it back several times, one wheel was towed in too much and one wheel was towed out. Now, if one's going in and one's going out in the same direction, it's going to cause the car to drift. Okay? Now, after that was done, we got the toe down to 0.05 degrees of toe in, 0.06 degrees on the right and left. So we towed it in just a little bit. Now, total toe, we have 0.11 degrees in the front. Now in the rear, negative camber. This doesn't make any sense to me. Why there's more camber on the left side of the car than the right side of the car. And this car is not modified. This is factory. Negative 1.6 on the left, negative 1.2 on the right. It's not really a big deviation, but for some reason, there is a deviation between left and right in this car, and I don't really know why. Rear toe, before the alignment, was 0.14. Then we got it down to 0.16. Now, I don't know why the right side, 0.03, it goes to 0.03. Why? He was telling me that the left side was harder to get the toe dialed in, and it was maxed out. I don't know why. That's just from the factory. So this alignment did not help the car at all. The only thing we see from this alignment is that the front toe was significantly out between the left and the right, and there was definitely a slight deviation in the toe settings in the rear as well. And like I said, they spent about 2.5 hours in this, and I was there, and they were having a hard time trying to get that toe dialed in a little bit better between the left and the right side. So I'll put that away. So here's alignment number 3. We're gonna go here. Camber, we're reading now this alignment here was done with the tire sensors that clip onto the wheel of the car. Now the one at the dealer hugs and clips onto the tire of the car, and this one clips onto the tire of the car. That's just what the newer Hunter machines have today. So this was done on March 12th of 2019 at 2:15 p.m. and I was watching them do it. So let me give you the before measurements. Camber, left front negative 0.7 degrees, right front negative 0.9 degrees. Caster, 4.1 degrees positive, 3.8 degrees positive, left and right. Toe, 0.14 degrees, toe in on the left, 0.08 degrees, toe in on the right. Total toe is 0.22. Now we're going to go back, and we're going to kind of compare this to the alignment I had done in December. So we're looking here. So if we had to look at this here. So in December, we set the left front toe to 0.05 degree toe in, and now it's 0.14 degrees toe in. So there's been a toe change. Okay, something moved on the car. Same thing on the right side. It went from 0.06 to now 0.08. And there could be a slight deviation, but what's concerning me is the deviation on the left side. So if this wheel is towing in more, and now there's also a camber issue on this side, it's going to cause the car to drift to the right. So why it's happening, I don't really know. So here we got here. Now left rear camber, now it's in the red, which when it means it's in the red, it means it's not within factory spec, according to the car. See, it's Q50 4x4 3.0 electric power steering. So the camber on the left becomes negative 1.7, on the right negative 1.3. Now we go back to the other alignment spec that was done in December. So it moved a little bit. There's a slight deviation in the rear camber. Now rear toe, this is before the alignment was done, is 0.08 degrees towed in, 0.06 degrees towed in, with a total toe of 0.14. Now according to what we had done in December, there's definitely a difference, because we have 0.16 degrees and 0.03 degrees. Now how the hell did the toe change dramatically change? How did it go from 0.16 to 0.08, and how did it go from 0.06 to 0.03? How did it do that in like 2 months of driving locally? This just doesn't make any sense to me. So something is totally bonkers on this car. Now, after the alignment was done, this is what we got. Camber stayed the same, caster stayed the same, the toe in the front was set to 0.09 degrees on the left, 0.08 degrees on the right. We have a total toe of 0.17. Okay, so that's got a very minuscule amount of front toe in to keep the car stable, especially with the crown of the roads. Now in the rear, we got the camber. So remember how the camber was negative 1.7? Now we got the camber to negative 1.2 left and right. The camber now is balanced. The toe is balanced. 0.14 degrees on both sides with a total toe of 0.29 degrees. So looking at the static alignment between this and everything else that I've had done with this car, there's been dramatic changes. Why it would be changing so dramatically over the course of a very short period of time. So I just wanted to throw this video out there and see if any of you guys that have this car are running into the same issues, because I can't take it anymore. I absolutely despise driving it. The wife despises driving it. It's not stable. I don't feel it's safe, especially when you're on a highway doing 75 and you got tractor trailers, you know, riding next to you. It's just pulling the car all over the place. We don't know what it is. We got brand new tires all the way around, 3 alignments done. You see, I was reading you the deviations in alignments. Now, I don't have the alignment specs from the dealer, but they were telling me also that the rear camber was off and the toe was off. Okay, that's just what the technician told me. I wish I had a printout to show you, but all I have is these 2 printouts that a friend of mine did on this car recently. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys got some feedback and got some comments on the Infiniti Q50 Red Sport that you could pass along to me. But so far, this car has been totally not pleasurable to drive at all. It's just being used for food shopping, errands, Home Depot runs, and barreling in and out of New York City when I got to go meet clients and go see vendors. So see you guys soon. Stay tuned for more automotive content. Also, stay tuned to the channel because we're going to be car shopping very soon, and I'm going to take you guys along at a couple of dealerships. We're going to do a bunch of different test drives, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion as far as what we have on the radar. She's looking for an SUV. I got one on the radar. I really want to get an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. She's complaining already about the money, and of course she doesn't need a car with 510 horsepower. So it is what it is, but we'll see what happens. And like I said, it's a shame because the Infiniti, it's a good looking car. It does a lot of good things well. I think it's a good value. I think the chassis is antiquated. I think it needs a serious update. If this car and this next platform is going to be a contender with the cars that are out there today, Infiniti Nissan Motor Corp has to do some serious updates on this car. Otherwise, it's just going to fall by the wayside. And the only reason people are going to buy it is because of the cheap lease deals. And other than that, you're going to really sacrifice driving pleasure, performance, and of course longevity. It's not a car that I would ever want to own outright. Like I said, if this car at 18,000 miles is having these issues, and this car is babied and well taken care of, you guys could see it, I wouldn't want to know what this car would do if you were barreling it and driving it in the Bronx, Queens, and Brooklyn, and Manhattan every single day of the week. I just don't think this car would ever hold up more than 2 years. So that's like the worst thing about any kind of car. You know, if you go back, like I always owned a lot of classic cars, you know, from the 50s and 60s and even early 70s. And the thing is, you know, you drive a classic car, you know, you kind of expect a classic car to be all over the road. Just by design and lack of engineering and, you know, what you're driving. But you don't expect a luxury car in this day and age to lend this kind of dissatisfied driver experience. And look at it. It's just pulling right into the shoulder. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what's going on with this car. Look, there it goes again. And then I correct it. And now it's going over there. So, I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's just become a nuisance to drive, put it that way. You know, if this car had a giant contact patch like my Shelby, if I had like 305 tires in the front, yeah, I would probably say maybe it's tramlining a little bit, but you know, we have OEM tire sizes on this car. You know, factory rims. It's not modified. It's not lowered. It's, you know, and it just shouldn't be doing this. So I'll see you guys soon. Stay tuned to the channel for more content. Post your comments and feedback regarding the Infiniti Q50 platform and the Red Sport in the video comment section below. And hope to hear from you guys soon. And stay tuned to the channel. We're going to be car shopping and replacing this thing very, very quickly. I cannot wait for this car to be gone and to get something new and exciting. And I'll do some more videos on whatever car we get. So that should be fun. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next one.